The compound was silent, except for the rustling of leaves stirred by the harmattan breeze. In the master bedroom of a two-story house in Surulere, Lagos, a muffled sob broke the stillness. Madame Linda, the elegant wife of Chief Adewale, pressed her face into a pillow to drown her cries. Her chest rose and fell heavily as she whispered, "God, why me? How did my marriage come to this?" Just 3 years ago, she had been the envy of many. Married to Chief Adewale, a respected businessman with a chain of electronics stores, she lived in comfort. Their wedding photos, still displayed proudly in the sitting room, captured their laughter, their vows, their promise of forever. But tonight, Linda's hands trembled as she clutched a torn shirt that carried a faint trace of unfamiliar perfume. It wasn't hers. Her mind raced. Is Adewale seeing someone else? Have I already lost him? From the tiny staff quarters at the edge of the compound, Ngozi, the 19-year-old housemaid, shifted uneasily on her thin mattress. She could hear the faint sobs carried by the night air. She sat upright, heart pounding. Ngozi had noticed the tension for weeks, the way Chief Adewale avoided Linda's eyes, the arguments that began as whispers but ended in slammed doors, and the sadness that clung to Madame's once bright smile. That night, staring at the cracked ceiling of her room, Ngozi whispered to herself, "If I don't do something, this family will break." The long dining table gleamed under the chandelier. Plates of steaming jollof rice and fried plantain filled the air with aroma, but the mood was heavy. Chief Adewale, dressed in a crisp white shirt, scrolled through his phone, barely glancing at the food. Madame Linda sat across from him, her Ankara wrapper neatly tied, her lips pressed into a thin line. "Your food is getting cold," she said quietly, but there was no warmth in her voice. He nodded without looking up. "I'll eat." From the kitchen doorway, Ngozi lingered silently, clutching a tray of water glasses. She noticed Madame's forced calm and Olga's distant replies. Even their two children, Michael and Damara, ate quietly, sensing the storm between their parents. Later that night, while washing dishes, Ngozi overheard the muffled sound of raised voices from the master bedroom. She paused, her hands trembling in the soapy water. "I saw the perfume on your shirt, Adewale. Don't you dare deny it." Linda's voice cracked through the wall. There was silence, then a harsh sigh. "You always imagine things. Not everything is what it seems, Linda." Ngozi's heart tightened. She wasn't one to interfere, but the house was heavy with pain, and she knew the Madame's breaking spirit could not last forever. The next morning, Linda stepped into the kitchen, her eyes swollen from the night before. She reached for a cup of tea, her hands shaking slightly. Without a word, Ngozi quietly placed a warm meat pie beside her. "Madam, you didn't eat last night," she said softly. Linda looked at her with surprise. For a moment, the mask of pride fell, and she managed a faint smile. "Thank you, Ngozi." It was a small gesture, but it reminded Linda that even in her loneliness, someone still cared. By the weekend, the cracks in the marriage were no longer hidden. Madame Esther, a neighbor known for her sharp tongue, leaned over her balcony to gossip with another. "Have you noticed? Chief Adewale comes home late almost every night now. And Madame Linda, she looks like a shadow of herself." Linda from the upstairs window overheard the whispers. Her cheeks burned with shame. She turned away quickly, but not before Ngozi, who was hanging laundry in the compound, caught her eye. Ngozi's gaze carried no judgment, only quiet understanding, and it gave Linda strength she didn't know she still had. On a humid Tuesday afternoon, Auntie Rose, Linda's outspoken elder sister, stopped by unannounced. She settled into the sitting room, eyeing her sister's tired face. Linda, you're shrinking, she said bluntly. Is Adewale treating you well? Linda forced a laugh, waving her hand dismissively. Marriage is never perfect, Rose. I'm fine. But Ngozi, serving chilled zobo on a tray, saw the truth in Madam's eyes. She lingered a moment, her quiet presence almost protective, before retreating to the kitchen. Chief Adewale arrived home past midnight, his cologne mixed with cigarette smoke. Linda, waiting in the living room with crossed arms, confronted him. Who is she, Adewale? Don't insult me with lies. He rubbed his forehead wearily. You don't understand, Linda. Business is stressful. Don't call this business, she cut him off, her voice trembling. From the corridor, Ngozi stood frozen in the shadows, clutching a mop. She had come to finish her chores, but instead overheard the raw fracture of a marriage unraveling. That night, Ngozi knelt by her narrow bed in the staff quarters. The compound was silent, the moonlight spilling through the cracked window. She clasped her hands tightly. God, help them. Help Madame Linda not to break. Help Oga Adewale to see what he's losing. Use me if you must, but save this family. Her whispered prayer floated into the night, a secret no one knew but heaven. At breakfast, Michael, 12 years old, and Amara, 9 years old, sat quietly, pushing Akara around their plates. Mommy, why is Daddy always angry? Amara asked softly, her beaded braids swaying as she lowered her head. Linda's throat tightened. She forced a smile and brushed her daughter's cheek. Daddy loves you both very much. Don't worry. From the kitchen doorway, Ngozi watched the exchange. Her heart ached. The children could see the cracks, and she knew broken homes always scarred the little ones the most. One evening, as Ngozi folded laundry in the corridor, Driver Kunle leaned in, lowering his voice. You're a good girl, Ngozi, but be careful. When Madam and Olga fight like this, housemaids often become scapegoats. Ngozi nodded, swallowing hard. I know, Uncle Kunle, but I can't just stand by. They need help. He sighed deeply. You're braver than most. Just don't lose yourself in their war. One Friday evening, Linda decided to surprise Adewale at his office. Her heart pounded as she climbed the staircase. She paused when she heard muffled laughter from inside. Through the half-open door, she caught sight of Adewale leaning too closely to a young secretary. Linda froze, the betrayal cutting deeper than a knife. She turned sharply, heels echoing as she stormed out. That night, she wept silently in her bedroom. From the corridor, Ngozi carried a tray of tea, but stopped short, unsure if she should enter. She wanted desperately to comfort Madam, but she knew her place. While dusting the study the next morning, Ngozi found a crumpled envelope wedged between files. Out of curiosity, she straightened it. It was a love note, not written to Linda. Her hands trembled as she quickly placed it back, heart racing. That evening, Ngozi knocked softly on Linda's door. Madam, she said carefully, sometimes the things we fear are not the end, but a chance for God to heal. Linda studied her maid's earnest eyes. She didn't understand fully, but her heart was strangely comforted. On Sunday service, Pastor Emmanuel preached about forgiveness and the power of truth in saving families. The words struck Ngozi deeply. After service, she lingered near Madame Linda. Madam, she whispered, if you don't talk openly with Olga, this wound will only grow. Please, don't give silence the victory. Linda blinked back tears. Ngozi, you are just a maid. Why do you care so much? Ngozi lowered her gaze. Because this house gave me a roof, And because I can see love is still here, even if pain is louder right now. Another argument erupted. Plates clattered. Voices rose. Do you think I don't know what you're doing, Adewale? Linda shouted, her voice cracking. Adewale slammed his fist on the table. And do you think I don't feel caged in this house, Linda? Always suspicion, always nagging. In the corner, Michael and Namara huddled together, crying silently. Ngozi rushed to them, shielding them with her arms. Her own tears flowed, but she whispered, "Don't be afraid. God will not let this family fall apart." The following week, Ngozi was sent to deliver documents to Chief Adewale at his office. When she arrived, she overheard two men whispering in the lobby. "Chief Adewale is being set up. That woman is only after his money. Once she traps him, she'll ruin his home," one of them said. Ngozi's heart stopped. Could this be the truth behind the mistress? She clutched the envelope tightly, realizing she held the missing puzzle piece that could save her madam's marriage. That evening, Ngozi entered the sitting room, her hands shaking. "Madam, Oga, please, I must tell you something." Linda frowned. "Ngozi, what is it?" She pulled out the overheard truth like a dagger. "The woman Olga is seeing, she is a trap. She only wants his money. I heard men discussing her plans. She wants to destroy this family." Adewale's face turned pale. His voice dropped. "What did you say?" Ngozi's eyes welled with tears. "Chief, she doesn't love you. She's using you. Please, don't let her take away what God joined together." For the first time, Adewale slumped into a chair, burying his face in his hands. The weight of his sins pressed hard. "Linda," he whispered, "I have failed you. I let temptation into my life. I thought I was in control, but I was the fool." Linda's eyes glistened. She wanted to lash out, to scream, but looking at him broken, something inside her shifted. Their children peeked from the doorway, confused but hopeful. Ngozi stood silently, her presence a reminder that truth had finally come into the light. That evening, Linda gathered everyone in the sitting room. A candle burned low beside the Bible. She looked at Adewale. "If we are to survive this, we must return to God." Together they knelt. Michael, 10, and Amara, 7, clasped their parents' hands tightly. Adewale's voice cracked. "Lord, forgive me. Forgive the pain I brought into this house." Linda's tears flowed freely. She whispered, "I forgive you." And for the first time in months, the family prayed as one. Days turned into weeks. Chief Adewale cut ties with the woman who sought to trap him. His focus shifted back to his home, his wife, and his children. Linda, though still healing, opened her heart to reconciliation. The children smiled more often. Laughter slowly returned to the house. And through it all, Ngozi quietly served, her presence like an angel in disguise. She never asked for a reward. Her joy was in seeing the family whole again. One evening, Linda called Ngozi into the parlor. "My dear," Linda said softly, "you came here as just a housemaid, but God sent us to you as a savior. From today, you are no longer our maid. You are part of this family." Ngozi's eyes widened, tears spilling down. "Madam, I don't deserve this." "You deserve even more," Adewale added, his voice firm. "From now on, we will sponsor your education. You shall have the future you dreamed of." The shock rippled through Ngozi's heart. She had thought she would only serve, but instead, she was lifted. Marriage is tested not by comfort, but by storms. Forgiveness heals deeper than revenge. God can use the least expected person to save a family. Never underestimate the value of truth and loyalty.